What's up everyone, John from Beyond ARTV. Welcome to another episode of 7 on Sunday, a weekly series where I count down either 7 of my favorite things or else 7 things that I just think are really cool or something that you need to know about, usually viewer requested. If you have suggestions for future episodes of this series, let me know in the comments section down below. But today, I'm going to be talking about my 7 favorite YouTube channels. Not necessarily YouTubers, I don't want to throw that out there because some of them are probably more than one person, but let's go ahead and start off the list with number 7. Chris Stuckmann is a really interesting guy to me. I think he's really passionate about what he does. I've been listening to him off and on for a while now, but I just recently started getting into his stuff again, watching his movie reviews after seeing him on the Needle Drops podcast. Well, hearing him on the podcast, I should say. He's just got a more natural approach to things, and I like to think that sometimes I can see myself being that way, not being like super over dramatic or something, or else not too laid back that I'm necessarily boring. But I think in a lot of ways me and Stuckmann have a lot in common, and I like that whenever I'm watching him to see a movie review. I trust his opinions, and I don't necessarily take it as the truth, the ultimate truth or something like that, nor would I ever want you guys to do that for a specific album or a single, because you always have to decide for yourself. But he steers me away from some really bad stuff and helps me discover some new stuff, so I've got to thank Chris for that. Number 6 is Dashieexp, a guy from the Dominican Republic. He also has a gaming channel, but Dashieexp is his sketch comedy channel. Started watching pretty much from the start. I think he had about 5,000 subscribers maybe whenever I found his channel. He did the big ass cereal box thing and it was just hilarious. I love how just over dramatic and like how he gets into all these situations with his friends and stuff in the sketches. T. Pendel, Joey, can't remember the guy's name. He has a lot of funny people on there. He's collaborated with a lot of bigger YouTubers like Prank vs. Pranks, Jesse, and I think a couple of different Viners and that sort of thing. So it's just been nice to see him grow. He's got 1 million subscribers there, I think, and on Dashieexp as well. He's just a really funny, down-to-earth guy, especially when you see his vlogs and that sort of thing. So I've been with him for probably like 5 years from now, and I can't wait to see what happens in the future. Number 5 is not necessarily one specific person like I was talking about, but it's the Bad Lip Reading channel. They don't upload that often, but when they do, it is always worth it. I laugh my fucking ass off every time they put something up. I'm a sucker for that. Some things, there's like the hype and I just don't get it, and I'll be like, that's not funny. But I watch Bad Lip Reading and it's like one of those things where I want to send it to all my friends as soon as I watch the new one. I'm like, oh my god, have you seen the new Bad Lip Reading yet? Some of the Twilight ones have me rolling in the floor. I'm going to be linking to all this shit down below, so make sure you guys check out the channels that I'm mentioning. The basic idea behind the channel is that people's mouths are moving all the time, especially whenever it's being televised, like the NFL, or else a movie, or else TV, or something like that, and it's misinterpreted sometimes, especially if you look closely. The dudes who do this, I think it's mainly one guy that does all of this, just sits down and has to go through hours and hours of footage to make things line up, or else to figure out what exactly he could make them say. It's just a talent. It's a talent, and I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys check it out for yourself and laugh. Number 4 is A Dose of Buckley. Keep in mind that I am not doing any of my fellow YouTube music critics for a reason. I'm not putting any of those channels on the list because obviously I wouldn't want to single one out over the other, and it just wouldn't make sense. I mean, I wouldn't put myself on a list, and I wouldn't put any of my YouTube community friends on here just because I feel like I'd be a little biased to put them closer to the top. Anyways, A Dose of Buckley, a Canadian, I wouldn't call him, I don't know exactly what I would call him. He's an angry Canadian with angry humor, and I really like that. That's how he describes himself, and that pretty much sums up his videos. He's got a voice, he's got a very large opinion a lot of the time on a lot of hot and sensitive topics, kind of goes off into like mid-video rants and that sort of thing, and his videos don't actually feature him in them. It's just like text up on screen and just showing a lot of illustrations and that sort of thing, and I like how he presents himself. So Adam Buckley, definitely a very talented guy over on A Dose of Buckley. He does the top 10 worst songs of the year every year. I think some of those like have over 1 million views. One of them has 10 million views, so you might have seen him and not even known who it was. He has a channel and he has a lot of awesome content on there. Coming in at number 3, we have Life According to Jimmy, a guy who I've been subscribed to for several years now. Now there are a lot of masterminds behind that who actually make it happen, working the cameras, writing, and that sort of thing. I think it's mainly Jimmy Tatro, who formerly of the Jimmy Tatro channel, and Christian Pierce, his friend, that appears in a lot of the videos, who do all of the writing. the directing as well, even working the camera some of the times on some of the simpler videos. But I love the chemistry that they have. Jimmy Tatro often plays the role of this like really douchey frat guy, and I think that he's kind of poking fun at himself considering he was in a fraternity in college before dropping out to pursue a career in, I guess, YouTube acting and that sort of thing. He appeared in 22 Jump Street. I think he's going to be in the upcoming Blue Mountain State movie that was actually filmed in Wilmington, North Carolina, where I lived up until about 4 months ago. Jimmy's just got a really good eye for catching things and picking up on things in day-to-day conversations and making sketches based off of like either things that are really awkward or things that cause a lot of tension. Number 2 on my list is Jared A Longy. Of course, a lot of you guys probably know who he is, especially since we're talking music here and that sort of thing. Jared A Longy is one of those guys who takes music and comedy, fuses them together, and a lot of times makes his own music, but works with a lot of artists off of like Fearless Records and kind of in the alternative press type scene, and makes these really funny sketch videos. I think my favorite video that I've seen from him to date is How to Get on Pop Goes Punk, featuring Tyler Carter. Just absolutely hysterical scenario. I think Jared's just a really awkward individual, and it makes for some really good comedy a lot of the time. So if you have not checked out Jared's video, definitely do so. He's definitely the smallest YouTuber that I've put on this list, but definitely worth checking out. And finally, coming in at number 1 on my list, the top spot going to Philip DeFranco, formerly SXE Phil, a YouTuber that I have been watching since 2008. July 4th, 2008 actually. I went back and looked it up recently, and the first video that I ever saw from him was the thing that he did about the Viacom lawsuit with everything that was going on between them and YouTube and all the copyright issues at the time. And I was like, this dude talking to a camera is actually pretty damn funny. And Phil kind of inspired me in a lot of ways. He inspired me to start my own channel, start vlogging. I talked about the news. I had an old channel. If you notice that my vlog channel is youtube.com/talkbacktome technically, it's because originally I wanted to make that a news style channel where I talked about news and gossip and stuff like Philip DeFranco did at the time, and he's evolved into so much more. He does all kinds of stuff. He still has the Philip DeFranco Show, but he launched himself into kind of a superstar in a way. He created SourceFed Nerd, everything else that goes with that. He has his own company. He's like the tycoon sitting at the top, and he still puts out the Philip DeFranco Show, which I have seen every single episode since the Viacom one that I watched back in 2008. He's just one of those guys who you see a lot of people go down in quality. I think he's gotten better and better with time. You see his offices grow and that sort of thing, and it's just really one of those things that you want him to succeed. You want him to keep going, because he's just, even though he presents himself as kind of like a douchebag type guy, especially when he presents some stories, you know he's got a really good heart and that sort of thing, and loves his employees and loves YouTube and loves the people that he works with. So Philip DeFranco, props to you. That's why you're my favorite YouTuber. Thanks for watching this episode of 7 on Sunday. If you have any suggestions for future episodes that you'd like to see me discuss, let me know in the comments section down below. Don't forget to smash that like button while you're at it. Maybe subscribe to the channel. Click that link in the description. I believe it's the top link. That'll take you to the last episode of 7 on Sunday. Last week I did, well, no telling. Hopefully you'll check it out. I'll see you very soon, right here on Beyond ARTV.